Right, here to talk through what's in the papers and what's making headlines today. We say hello, good morning to Alex Armstrong, political commentator, and Stephanie Tetchy, who is the showbiz reporter and does lots of other things besides. Very nice to see you both. Let's talk about Michelle Mone. Stephanie, I think that might come under your jurisdiction, first of all, because of the celebrityhood involved in it. So, first of all, she hires a company to give her side of the story in terms of an interview, and then she's gone on the BBC. How's she doing defending herself?
Not well. Whoever she hired to help her with this damage control needs to be sacked. She's finally called a spade, and she said that she's admitted that she's lied, that she was involved with her husband's company when it comes to PPE, which was awarded a contract of £200 million. For months, almost years, she denied anything to do with this. She now went on this interview with Laura Kuenssberg, where she's finally admitted it, and she said she wasn't trying to pull the wool over the media's eyes, which she basically has done. I found the interview a total contradiction. To be honest, I think she's just digged her grave even further. She's been honest with the facts to say that she will benefit from her husband's trust, so they've made a profit of £60 million. But a woman of her stature who was so wealthy, I just think if she was honest from the start, maybe she would have had more respect. And now it's a little bit too late.
There's a suggestion that it had echoes of the Prince Andrew interview.
Yes, yeah, it is. I think when celebrities do these interviews, I think they try to come across as woe is me, as she was trying to say she was trying to protect her family. But I'm like, the only reason why you're trying to do this now is because you've been caught out. So what is there left to salvage, which is probably her reputation? But the company is being sued, so she might not be left with very much.
Alex, what's your take?
Yeah, it's a car crash, to put it lightly, isn't it? You know, the whole thing from start to finish, even if we look at the government conduct of this as well, I mean, this contract was pushed through the VIP lane. We spent hundreds of millions on this, and most of that PPE wasn't even used or was classed as defective, which is an even more slap in the face to the taxpayer. I just think the whole thing needs really looking into. I can't believe it got to this point where she's even being allowed to have this car crash interview. It's bizarre. I think the GBNEWS viewers will be watching this going, how's our money being spent? You know?
I don't think anyone who's been involved should be left unscathed in this. There definitely has to be some kind of policy changes when it comes to, especially people who are involved in the political arena, getting involved in kind of deals like this.
You know, Stephanie, I was going to say as well, I mean, she says here, I didn't want there to be another big boo-hoo-ha. My family have gone through media hell. And, you know, to lie about this to the public is just disgraceful. And then to make yourself out to be the victim.
No.
In a £200 million deal. Alex, the whole Israel-Gaza situation that is going on, the West, you know, UK, US, whatever, seem to be changing their tune in their steadfast support for Israel. Initially, everything was fine, even though most people could see that it was not. Now, both the US and the UK finding it hard to stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel in terms of the war that they're waging.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been quite a lot happen this week. We're seeing a lot more images coming out of Gaza now, as well as the IDF have started to sweep through pretty deep into the Gaza Strip. Obviously, Lord Cameron coming out here saying they want there to be a sustainable ceasefire, which I don't understand what that means.
What is the difference between a sustainable ceasefire and an immediate ceasefire?
Right.
Is it semantics?
Well, I think it is, Pip, because I think the line is not to say that they want an immediate ceasefire. So there's obviously an agreed line amongst the allies here on what you can and can't say. We saw Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau trip up on that a few weeks ago. But, you know, Ben Wallace is coming out here, and I think there's a really important part to this, which he says, you know, learn the lessons from Britain and Northern Ireland. You are only going to fuel more radicalism in the next 50 years. Learn the lessons and take a leaf out of our book. Look, I do think that, you know, there is a question on the other side of this, if we look at Israel's side, to say, who do we negotiate with? Will Hamas give back those who are being kidnapped? And I think that's the question on the Hamas side. Obviously, it's very easy for us to criticise Israel, but we also need to be balanced and look at how do we negotiate with an organisation like Hamas.
The thing with trying to get rid of Hamas, it's an ideology, and this is the problem which I think Israel will have, because they're trying to say we want to eradicate Hamas, but the more they're trying to do it, you're actually radicalising people who are actually following...
And Hamas top brass are sitting pretty in Qatar.
So you're not actually... What we've been witnessing over the past few months is modern-day genocide. You're not actually attacking these terrorists. You're killing innocent children and people. And how long can that go on until no one's left in Gaza?
I do think there needs to be a bigger international effort to... Pip, you just raised a really important point here, to talk about these Hamas leaders who are sitting very pretty and who are fueling this war. It's very easy to criticise the state of Israel, but when we're not talking about the Hamas leaders who are sitting on millions and millions of dollars, by the way, and actually fueling a war which they refuse to take part in physically. So I do think we need to look at it from both sides, but I think everyone agrees that too many civilians have been killed, and there's got to be a way to call this, get them into this at some point.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Stephanie, this is a very... we sort of digress from the main news agenda. The beauty competition, Miss France.
Yes.
A row has broken out over this and over who won. Can you explain to us what the row was?
I think in this particular row, I think we like to use the word woke too many times. So for the Miss France pageantry, for the first time in their history, a woman with a pixie haircut won. And this has left people outraged because they're saying, there was other women there who had long, flowy hair, traditional feminine styles. So the judges are being accused for going for an androgynous look. And so
give me a break.
This is what I'm saying.
So because somebody's got a pixie haircut, they're not a worthy winner?
She doesn't represent femininity. This poor model, Eve Gillet, she's only 20 years old, and she says every woman is different, rightly so. And then she was saying that she shouldn't be attacked just because of her haircut. But there has been this long-standing concept, which people don't really talk about, where if you've got long hair, you're considered more feminine, and if you've got short hair, you're kind of considered a tomboy. But hello, we're in 2023. This kind of look...
But, that's like saying you could look at Audrey Hepburn, for instance, and say, she did not represent femininity. I can't say the word femininity. But, of course, she did. So, I think it's ridiculous. I just look at them as like two beautiful women. I don't see a haircut.
To be honest, I think it's sexism at its finest for traditional people who think that women have to look a certain way. And if they go out of that old school concept of women being, quite smart and gentle, you're obviously a rebel to womanhood.
I think back in the mid-'80s, early 90s, there was a lot of attention put upon Linda Evangelista because of her supermodel looks that were not your Claudia Schiffer and your Cindy Crawfords. She had a very distinctive look about her. And she came under the microscope for that.
Yeah, I think women's hair are always being judged in that sense, because women, that's how we communicate. What we're feeling, what kind of look we want to go for, and I just think it's not, and no one has a right to judge that.
Do you have an opinion on this?
I don't, funnily enough. I think the whole thing's nonsense. I mean, to call it woke, I don't know what that defines even. That word's being bandied about so often now, I don't even know what it means. But no, I don't really have a strong opinion, if I'm being honest.
No. Now, Pip, you've got a strong opinion from page of the Mirror today, this reindeer story.
Reindeer horror, yeah. Mirror exclusive. A British firm is selling reindeer shooting hunts as Christmas approaches, offering trips to slaughter the majestic beasts in Norway. Now, I'm sorry, I cannot get into the psychology of anybody that gets a kick out of doing that. It absolutely disgusts me, especially when we look at reindeer, when we go for the sleigh rides and we take the kids to Lapland, and then you've got this other group of people who just want to slaughter them. It sickens me.
It's disgraceful. These people are just evil, in my opinion. They are the definition of evil. To know that this company is actually based here in the UK is absolutely sickening, and the fact that they are actually they've actually, if you look at page 4 of the Daily Mirror, you'll see they've got hunting experiences in Scotland, England, Norway, France, Spain, Africa, and Argentina. To be promoting these things in our country seems so out of touch with who we are as a society today. I know the government there was a private members bill to ban this that never made it through the final phases or at least of the trophy. Bringing in trophies to this country, but it's absolutely disgraceful. These people should be locked up, in my opinion. Sorry, that's a bit strong, but I do think.
And what if children see this?
It really is sadistic. I think of all the things you can offer for people to do, I don't understand why they think this should be a valuable leisure for people to invest their money in. And it's almost like in Norway, I have to think, isn't there more fury about this?
Yeah.
There's so much you can do with reindeers without actually slaughtering them.
I mean, how out of touch to do it this time of year as well? I mean, really, it's so sickening. It really is. I mean, I really hope there's a big outrage about this, and I hope MPs start looking at this on their newspapers and go, we need to push through this members' bill and actually go further, ban this kind of hunting for sport in the UK entirely.
Yeah, I mean, what are they basically but big cows with horns on? I mean, that's basically what they are. I mean, I can't see reindeers being much threat in any aspect.
There might be an argument from the other side about keeping the reindeer population down.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
Rose says. From that, we go to napping cats.
Yes, it's not actually sleeping cats, but it's in art. Basically, it's life imitating art. In northern Thailand, there has been a factory worker who started doing rice paddy art. So he's been using rainbow rice to create 3 felines, sleeping felines, in a rice field. I think we've got a picture of it.
Now, what are we looking at here?
Oh, I can see now.
Sleeping cats, and he's made this out of rainbow rice. And it's a factory worker in northern Thailand, and he's doing it in a way to promote tourism out there. He says it's quite interesting to kind of mix agriculture with art, and I think it looks fantastic.
That is clever.
Wow. That's a lot more impressive than I thought it'd be.
But I think it'll look better if you're, like, looking down on it. I think you get to appreciate it a bit more.
There you go.
Well, going to appreciate... we about 20 minutes ago, launched an appeal for people with their pets and how they're dressing their pets for Christmas in this festive season. And we showed Pip's little dog and what it was wearing for Christmas. This is my dog and what it's wearing for Christmas. It's got a sort of special Christmassy... That's the dog.
That's Maggie.
What's his name? Or her name?
Don't know, but that's not the picture that I sent anybody to. Is that the... Have we got a picture of my dog in a red robe?
I've seen this beautiful robe. It's on Instagram.
It's on my Instagram account. I don't know how anybody's missed that one. And forget that. That's a very stupid picture of my dog. Let's forget that. Now, but Anne and Hull, we can zoom in on your picture. This is her little Jack. She is...
It's Lily, who's a Jack-Sue. Now, that's the cross between a Jack Russell and a Shih Tzu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Right.
Lovely little dog.
Right. OK, and that's Millie's outfit then. That's very nice. Very good. Very good.
I love it when pet owners dress up their animals in Santa gear. Christmas gear. It looks so cute.
And from Millie to Billy... Sarah in Stamford says, this is Billy. There it is. And he's ready for Santa with what he's got on there.
Looks a bit small for him, that.
That's a little bit.
Quite tight-fitting.
Oh, here's another one. Sharon in Essex. Hi, Sharon. Morning. This is my tortoise, Gizmo, rocking his Christmas hat. So Gizmo is just basically a walking hat. There. It's like a traffic cone, isn't he?
I've seen it all now.
Yeah. Right. Sharon in West Yorkshire. Morning, Sharon. You've been very good with this today. Here's a photo of Charlie after his trip to the hairdressers on Friday.
That's a professional shot, that is.
Yeah. He goes to the hairdressers more than Sharon does, she says.
That's true. It costs more to get your dogs clipped at the groomers than it does to get your own hair done.
Oh, that's good, that's good. Keep those coming. You get the idea now. You get the idea what that is all about. Alex, the Defence Secretary Grant Shapps says Britain will destroy the business model of evil small boat gangs, right? How's he going to do that?
Well, we don't know. I think that's the big question, is we don't actually know. There's a lot of rhetoric about stopping the boats, but no one actually has a plan on how we're going to do it. I mean, I've heard outlandish things from actually having people patrol the beaches and slashing them before they get there, but, you know, there's not really an answer to this. It seems that Grant Shapps has used this opportunity to attack Russia, who he's blaming for this crisis, saying that, you know, Russia's using illegal migration as a means of warfare, which may be true, but it seems a little far-fetched, if you ask me. But again, all rhetoric, but no actual, no good policies on how we're going to do it.
That's what really bugs me when it comes to the whole talks about trying to stop the boats. There's always a lot of fight talk, like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's like, you haven't done it so far, so what makes us going to believe that you're going to do it in the future? I think it's all kind of stuff to make people believe that the government's on top of it, but I just think it's a losing battle, if I'm honest.
It's a global problem as well, and maybe more attention needs to be paid as to why these people are leaving their own countries in the first place.
That's a good point.
And what can be done to actually help keep them there. It just feels like we're tackling one end of it, but not the other enough.
And I think you're right, it is a global problem, and I think what's happening is, like, Britain and our government are trying to make themselves look so strong that we're going to be the country that can do it, but actually you need to be working with so many countries in order to tackle it, because us by ourselves, we've gone way above. We can just look at the immigration numbers, we're over our head with it.
This comes after a big event as well. Rishi Sunak was in Italy. I don't know if you have seen this, with the Italian PM Giorgia Meloni. She had this big conference about migration, amongst other things, and he was. You have to watch his comments on this, because he's giving very Braverman-like comments on stopping the boats. So it seems to me that since she's gone, they feel like maybe they're losing the ground politically, at least here domestically, on that language and that rhetoric. So now Rishi and Shapps are gearing it up. Whether it's got this Russia spin to it or not, I don't know. But, you know, Rishi's being quoted by saying, you know, he's going to smash the business model. And I don't really know what the business model is, other than to encourage poor people to come over here and face extremely tough conditions getting here in the first place.
Well, the business model for getting migrants then from Britain into Rwanda requires commercial airlines. We hear today that many of them are backtracking on this. They're worried about reputational damage. Chris has been in touch and he said airlines won't transport legal immigrants. Well, that's fine by me. Get the Royal Air Force to do it instead. And sometimes it just seems with a bit of practicality, all of these things can be solved. And I think Chris is perfectly right. Get the Royal Air Force to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Eamonn, the question is that the government know all of this. They have all these things at their disposal. Why aren't they using them? You know, this so-called emergency legislation that all of a sudden came out of nowhere. Why are we only hearing about this now when we know this has been an issue going on for years? It seems like it's getting a little too late, and whether the public are going to buy any of this, I don't know. But as you said, Eamonn, there are practical solutions to these problems. We just don't seem to be willing to do them.
Could you not put a bunch of judges down in Dover to decide on cases?
I mean, they have proposed similar things, but this all requires more judges, which we already have a lack of, and a system that's already sort of overburdened with the backlog. So, you know, with Rwanda up in the air, there doesn't seem to be any plausible way they're going to get this done before an election. And I think that's the big thing here. Can Rishi stop these boats before an election? And I don't think he can. And
will it deter people, actually? Going to Rwanda, will it actually deter people from making the journey?
Well, you have migrants on the other side interviewed saying that they just laugh at the idea of it. They laugh at the idea of it because they know that there's plenty of judges in the ECHR and others that are going to overturn it, as they've been hearing in the press in Paris.
Vince makes a good point. Good morning. You say the positive is that Parliament is closing for Christmas, so at least they can cause less damage. One way of looking at it.
Well, Stephanie and Alex will be back in 40 minutes' time to cause all sorts of mischief. I hope you can join them for that. Right now, time for an update on weather. Here's Jonathan.